Yeah. As you go through the change of address forms, I'm thinking, all right, there must be some sort of system where they send you a voter registration card where you register in the new county that you live in. Yes. Now, for every individual that thinks that being a United States citizen doesn't matter, you have to be born in this jurisdiction of the United States, right? Or you have to be naturalized. And for every American citizen that said, well, we're going to let them all vote, yes, get me the voter registration cards and then get me their previous address for the last 20 years. Now, I know when you changed your address from Botswana to the United States of America, and you thought, well, I don't have to go through the naturalization process. I can use two witnesses to witness my signature that I have the legal right to vote. No. Now, for all of those county election officials, yes, that had that signature verification training, why the fuck would they care if it's a forgery or not? I mean, shouldn't we let it? It doesn't. Why don't we just let any old individual, yes, sign any document they want without proving their actual identity? Oh! Now, this concept of being a witness, a victim, or an informant, yes, I've informed the county election districts. I emailed them. Yes, yes. They have to say an actual oath, very similar to those in office. Yes. And I just found out that they have signature verification training by those that are employed in law enforcement. That means they're personally liable for the refusal of the enforcement of the laws of this state and every state of the United States. Now, when I told you I was going to shoot, I think it does matter. Pooh. Now, being a citizen is more than just a signature on a voter's ballot. Pooh. It's a signature. Oh, on a registration card? Yeah. It's a signature on a change of address. It's a signature on a home mortgage. It's a signature on a court order. So, whatever individual decided that citizenship doesn't matter, I would consider that you should reconsider exactly the importance of what he's talking about. Now, whoever knowingly uses intimidation, threatens, or corruptly persuades another person or attempts to do so or engage in misleading conduct toward another person with intent to influence, delay, or prevent the testimony of any person in official proceeding. You remember those official proceedings that I was telling you about that I went through while I was on Guam called diversion? Yeah. That you said that it's not violence against the United States to refuse the court order? Yes. And then you said, well, we can use forgeries and we can have what is violence against the United States. Um, how do I know the individual was the actual person that I was married to without signature verification of the person that petitioned the court? See, there is nothing identifying the actual biological mother, and as much as the court thought that they had the jurisdiction, I'm absolutely fucking sure that all of you can go to prison. Now, you're intimidating me, aren't you? You're harassing me. And you've corruptly persuaded another person, yes, to engage in misleading conduct toward myself with the intent to um, withhold testimony, withhold a record, document, or other object from an official proceeding. Let's say you withheld the actual expungement and dismissal order from Guam, yes, from an official proceeding involving dissolution of marriage and a protection order, yes, when I had provided it to my public defender. Yes. And you said, well, it doesn't matter. Clallam County's not Guam. Now, the withholding of any official court document, well, that'll get you 10 years. Were you going to try to kill me again? This citizenship that doesn't matter in elections, it matters everywhere else in life. Now, this court order that you've obstructed the emission of, and you say that I committed domestic violence and child abuse while we lived in Washington State. You made up some shit about, well, couples have arguments when they've been married for 10 years. Has nothing to do with pregnancy. When you're going through the very trying time of trying to decide, do we go on welfare or not? Am I going to be able to sue any insurance? A lot of wives would get frustrated that they didn't have $200,000 a year to spend. Now, there was an argument in Airway Heights where I told my wife, well, you can either buy homeschooling books or we can pay the rent. Now, a lot of women don't like being mature enough to have to accept that there was a housing crisis. We lost our home to foreclosure and we had to go on welfare because I could not earn a living. Now, when you marry a man that's a stockbroker, yes, that happened to start a couple businesses that did support his family, right? And you have to make the hard decision that you can't purchase every fucking thing you want. For a lot of wives, the concept of having to have to go on welfare is a real blow to their ego because they don't fucking want to admit, I'm sorry, but I was not able to earn enough money to pay the rent on the house sitting job. We did house sit. Yes, all the utilities were in the owner's name. But I did agree that we would, as house sitters, pay. Well, did you get a copy of the actual lease? Now, for any woman that thinks it's domestic violence or child abuse to have to go on welfare to be able to feed your family, there are a lot of American citizens that have had to go on welfare. So to say that there is this guarantee that when you marry, ooch, that your husband will always earn enough money is not realistic. Why don't I look through the foreclosures from 2007 to 2012? Ooch. Why don't I look at the number of individuals that had to go on welfare because their super good job got removed during the credit crisis of the United States of America? Now, what individual doesn't understand that when you have to go from having, $180,000 of available credit, yes, approximately $250,000 in assets, yes, and having the ability to make $120,000 to $150,000 a year, yes, and you have to move to Vancouver, Washington, so your blind stepdaughter can go to the school of the blind, and you happen to have purchased a house right across the street so she could walk to school, that the whole thought of there not being a guarantee of that kind of income and that kind of credit is not domestic violence. I had never touched my wife in a violent way ever during our whole marriage. I'm sorry, but arguing during a credit crisis is not domestic.